Hi, Lisa Marie here, and it is the season for get-togethers, parties, with family, with friends, with people you don't know. It could be a sit-down dinner, it could be a buffet dinner, it could be an appetizer dinner. No matter what it is, I have some tips for you. I went to my support group meeting on Thursday, and there were 3 dietitians in training who were there and gave us a great presentation about that very thing, about being successful at a party or any type of food gathering. And I kind of tweaked it a little bit and added my own stuff and made my own in. So let me tell you what I have. So at a bariatric or at any party, before the party, if you actually know the host, I say, number 1, call. Call. Look at this. I have a trick so I can write so you could see. Is that awesome? But call. Call ahead and ask the host what is going to be on the menu. That's right. What type of foods are they going to be serving? If you know the host, it should be easy to ask, hey, what's up? So, the second thing, it is totally acceptable now, and so many people are doing it. Just, if anything, to help the host out, bring a dish. That's right. Bring a dish that you know you can eat that is friendly for you. There's my husband. Okay, number 3. Something that when you're calling the host that you want to ask is the time you will be served. The time you're going to be served. And the reason for that is because if you're eating every 2.5 to 3 hours and you know you need to have a certain amount of time in there between your foods and your beverages, hello, you kind of want to know when they're going to be serving it so you know if you're going to have a snack before you go and or beverages when you get there to tide you over until they serve dinner 2 or 3 hours later, right? So it is okay to ask this question. And the reason you're doing that, I just said it, so that you can plan your food and beverage. That way you'll know the times that you're going to be able to follow and stay within your plan. And kind of a 5th tip for me that I do, and I highly suggest, is that you wear snug clothes. Wear something that fits, maybe even snugly. Wear a belt. Wear something that doesn't stretch is kind of the important thing. And the reason for that is because then your restriction is going to be a little bit there even sooner and keep you aware of what you want to do to stay on track. And if you're brave enough and if you feel comfortable doing it, kind of a side tip is pack a lunch bag. Oh, and bring your insulated cups or mugs. Because that way, hey Edward, that way you're then going to be able to carry around your beverages so people won't keep asking you, oh, do you have enough? Oh, do you need something? You can just hold up your mug and say, yep, I'm good. Or if they're going to have something and you want to have your meal that's warmer, like a soup or something like that, and if you have one of these little mugs with you, hello, you can have hot soup that's going to take you 15-20 minutes to eat. Okay, if if you don't know the host, you're going somewhere and you don't know who they are and you don't feel comfortable calling ahead and asking, detailed questions and information, it is totally acceptable, especially if it's a restaurant, to still call ahead and find out, seek out, maybe look it up online. You're going to look up the menu. You're going to see what they're going to have, especially if you're going to be ordering. Hey, Connie, you're going to look up and see what's available. If it's at someone's house and you don't really know who it is, ask someone maybe that you do know that's going and see if they have an idea of what they're serving. The thing about calling ahead, if you don't know the host or hostess, is that you can ask, will there be a menu for diet restrictions? Don't mind my abbreviations. It doesn't fit all the way across. But diet restrictions. Hey Carla, if you were someone who needed to have gluten-free options, wouldn't you call ahead? Wouldn't you call and ask if they have gluten-free options? Oh, hello. There's a lot of people now who want to say they are vegetarian or keto or gluten-free. And it is very acceptable in today's age to now call ahead and see if they have these options for you. It's for your own self, it's for your own sake and your own health and your long time success. Okay, then the same thing, same rule that you're going to want to ask is, what time will you be served? What time do they plan on having the dinner? That way, it's going to allow you that mental preparation of when you're going to have your food, when you're going to have your beverage, how you're going to mingle around, and things like that. Sound easy? Does that sound doable? Those are things to do beforehand. I also have another thing beforehand about your mentality, your mental thought process of what's going on, and I'm going to tell you that in a second. But first I want to say, kind of jump ahead. Now you're at the party. At the party, what are you going to do? First of all, do eat that day. Do not skip meals. Don't do it. Especially if you've had weight loss surgery and you've got a little tiny pouch, you cannot store up and make up for that later. You just can't do it. It's not good for you anyway. It's not good for your metabolism. It's not good for your emotions and your mental stability and all of that good stuff. Just don't do it. Have your regular scheduled meals. Maybe cut back if you want. Maybe have smaller portions. Whatever it is you're going to do, but do eat that day. Do not skip any meals. Next thing is kind of what I already said, is you're going to plan your food and beverage times. You're going to plan the times. So we have this all the time, so many times, date night every Friday night. I know now that even though everybody meets at 5:30, we don't eat until 7. It's just the way it is. So I purposely have something to eat between 4 and 4:30 that lasts me till 4:30 or 5 to eat it. Sometimes it's on the freeway there. I have a snack of some sort. Then by the time I get there, it's like 30 minutes away. I then can have beverage for the next 2.5 hours with everybody else. I can join in and have my beverage. They're all drinking some wine and having some adult beverages. And I'm just sipping away out of my, I don't have it handy here. It's over there. But my insulated mug. I carry that thing everywhere. And that's what I drink out of. So you can plan your food and your beverages even at the party. The next thing, what you're going to do when you get there is you're going to scout out the tables. Okay, 2 kinds of tables. You're going to scout out the tables of where to sit, because you want to be the farthest away from the food as possible.
Oh, I love you.
So that you're not tempted. You're not tempted to stand by the food tables and nibble and grab one more bite, one more bite, one more bite. Next thing you know, you're stuffed, you're full, and you haven't really sat down and enjoyed your meal. Okay, second table, the table that you're going to scout out is the food table. Look at it. Check it out. See what's there. What are we to focus on? First, our protein. So you will, hey Paula, you are going to focus on the proteins. Look at all of the dishes that are vegetarian, bariatric, keto, whatever you're following. You're going to look for the dishes that fit that. Hey Todd, you're going to look at the ones that fit that food choice for you, especially if it's a buffet. Now, if it's a sit-down dinner, I have a hint for that too, but this is if you're going somewhere and it's a buffet, free serving yourself type of thing. The next thing you're going to scout out are the plates. Okay, how brave are you? How accustomed are you to your new way of eating and living? Are you brave? If so, the first plate you're going to get is the coffee saucer. Totally ran out of room, sorry. The coffee saucer, right? Because it's little. It's your size, it's your portion, and it even has that middle. If you're not that brave, then scout out and look for the dessert plates. They're always there because there's always a dessert section. It's there. You just do it. If for some reason they don't have that, you just need to look at the different sizes of plates. There's almost always that big, huge, ginormous one. Then there's kind of a random one when those all run out that you'll have that smallerish one. And then there's the dessert one. So you want to do that. And what I remember doing, I do this all the time, and it works. When you're somewhere where maybe there isn't sit-down service, and hey, Michelle, if you're going somewhere and there really aren't seats to sit down and you're going to be carrying your plate around with you, I have a fabulous tip for this. So if you're walking around and you've looked out the food, you've kind of scoped it out, I want you to find 1 to 2 things that you know you like. So you're going to do 1 to 2 that you like, that you know you are going to like and you know that you can eat, okay? And you're not going to fill your plate up, but you're going to put these 1 or 2 things on the plate. Next, you're going to grab what I call fillers. These are other things to stick on your plate that are going to take up, or can you see that better? They're going to take up some of the space and fill up the plate so that people won't keep trying to put more stuff on your plate. It'll look like you're just walking around mingling and enjoying your company. Hello, which is the point of the party anyway. But that way, it alleviates the pressure from yourself and others trying to fill your plate back up. And the other thing, sometimes at these events like that, you're walking around and it's been hours. So my other thing is to have your glass or your mug. If you feel comfortable and it's not a black tie event and you can bring your insulated mug with you, bring it. Have it with you. You can be mingling and visiting, but then you've got something in your hands. Something about our fat brain kicks in at parties, and we think we have to have something in our hands. And the thing is, if you've got something in your hands, it's going to end up in your mouth. It's just the way it is. It's just human nature. It's the way God made us, unfortunately. So you're going to carry this little plate around with you, and yes, you're going to enjoy the things that you know you like. And then the filler things, you can push them around. Or my other thing is, always, when you're grabbing stuff at the table, grab extra napkins. napkins are your BFF. Why? Because say you've put a few things on your plate and you take a little bite, and remember, we're talking thumbnail bite, maybe pinky nail bite really, but thumbnail bite. And you put that in your mouth and you start chewing, and your brain and your taste buds and your everything says, ah, 911. Guess what? If you have a napkin, you can very discreetly, because you've taken a small bite, instead of plopping the whole meatball in your mouth, you've taken a little bite. You can very discreetly take a napkin, wipe your mouth, spit it in there, fold it up. Next time you go around a trash or whatever, hello, toss away the napkin. But then you still have a napkin in your hand for either the next thing that doesn't taste right or to dab your mouth. Okay, so now, what if you're seated? What if it's a meal and you're actually being seated? Guess what? You don't have control over the plate that they bring you, right? And usually if you're seated, you don't have control over the portions that they give you, right? Wrong! You do have control. You are the only one who controls what goes in your mouth, over your lips, into your throat, and down into your tummy. You have the control. And the awesome thing is, you have a permanent guide with you at all times. Your hand. Remember, your hand can be your guide. Grandson's trying to call me. So you always have your hand as your guide. And if they bring you a plate this big, as big as your head, your hand, you can discreetly set it on the edge of your plate, around the side, and you're gonna eye this part. Remember, this is your protein. Unless you're brand new and your sleeve is still new, then your protein is 2 of your fingers. And you can discreetly put 2 of your fingers on the side of your plate and go, oh, okay. You're gonna cut. You go check the bread, honey.
Yeah.
I use the knife. I use the knife on the counter and stick it in, and if it comes out, then
Got it.
we're making keto bread to take to a party today. So, you have your hand as your guide. It's either half of your palm is your protein or all of your palm is your protein. Kind of depends on the amount of food that you're able to eat at a serving. Then all of your hand is your vegetables. All of your hand is your vegetables. And guess how much is your carbs? This little bit right here. This is your carbs. Then this little piece of your top part of your finger right here, that's a teaspoon. Okay? That's a teaspoon. The top part of your thumb that bends like this, that's a tablespoon. So if you're having meats and cheeses, every chunk of cheese that fits right here, that's a tablespoon. And it's usually fatter than that, so it's anywhere from an ounce. It's usually about an ounce. I know that 2 tablespoons make an ounce normally, but cheese, it's more dense. So you just want to take a few chunks of that. So now you're eating, you've got your plate, and it's in, it's come by there for you. You just have to cut up what you want and kind of move it over to the edges and leave the other pieces to the other side of your plate. Then you just work on this part. And the reason for that is, if any of you are like me and you're the Clean Your Plate Club, having that definition of space between what you've cut up to eat and what you haven't cut up, which is don't touch, it allows your brain to catch that you're eating this part that's cut up and not this part over here. I don't know why it works, but it does. Okay. I already said this too. Same with the serving. You're going to cut up your pieces into the biggest, your thumbnail bed. The other part is your pinky nail. You're just going to cut those up. And the reason is that way you can actually chew. You can chew your food better. And my other amazing thing is if you've got pinky bites of things and you're waiting your 1 to 5 minutes between bites, you can actually go around the plate and taste the different things that are on the plate and then rate them. Good, better, best. Guess what? Old rule, saving the best for last? No more. Not ever. You want to eat the best things first for a lot of reasons because it tastes good. And then when you get full, who cares? That other stuff can go to the waste instead of your waste, right? It doesn't matter. If you eat the best first and what you know you need first, that's what's going to be your nourishment and feel good. The other thing is, okay, so seated, and I'm going to say you're going to eat the best first, not last, so that you can actually have what's good for you and you don't feel cheated. You don't feel gypped. You don't feel like you're missing out. You're actually eating the best things first. And, oh, pinky bites. Pinky bites. Okay. And then you already know this, but it bears reminding and repeating. Put the utensils down. Put your silverware down. Between your bites, you're going to put it down. And then guess what? You can fill that space with questions, right? You're going to ask people questions. And you know the old rule of don't talk with your mouth full. So if you're taking pinky or thumbnail bites, you're chewing it a good 15, 20, 25, 30 times, whatever it is. You're going to swallow that. You're going to enjoy it and then ask a question. You ask someone an important question and then guess what? Wait for their answer. Listen to their answer and engage with them before you take another bite. Ideal, or what do you call it? Not ideal. It is ideal, but what is that? When it's not the norm for people to do. They all want to just hurry up and take a bite and rush and keep talking and doing all that stuff for everybody else. But this way, if you ask someone a question and then you're going to wait, hear their answer, and then take a new bite. Novel idea, right? Okay. Pinky bites forever. Should be, really. I'm 3 years out, and my bites, when I cut them, are small because I can chew them better, and then I don't give myself the cause of pain and overeating or even eating too fast. When I bite something, I take too big of a bite. My mouth takes too big of a bite. It happens, and it frustrates me. I would say normal, standard, probably for the rest of our life. If you cannot chew the bite in your mouth at least 20 times, it's too big. It's too big. So if you can chew a tablespoon of food in your mouth 20 times before swallowing any of it, okay, your mouth and your teeth work great for you and you can do that. But if not, you need to cut down the bite size so that you can chew it thoroughly so that it can have its time to have that digestion processing to help your whichever surgery you've had, helps that digesting go through. Okay, so I told you that I had some other parts because I really think in planning before you go to a party or event, a lot of it takes a lot of planning ahead of time here, mentally. Mentally, you need to be ready and prepared for a couple of things. So your mindset before any gathering is really important. And one of the things that you need to ask yourself is, how are you going to feel? How do you want to feel? When you're there and you're at a party and you're visiting with people and you're getting all of the information and you're even having food, whether you make wise choices or not, ahead of time, if you think, how is it that you want to feel? How do you want to feel after the party? How do you want to feel at the party? How do you want to feel before the party? This is something that you kind of need to put, maybe even journal if you have to, but you need to ask yourself this question. And the thing is you're going to ask yourself, how are you going to feel when you are seeing the people? Whether it's people you haven't seen for a long time, people you want to see, people you don't want to be around, how are you going to feel when you see these different people and you're hanging around these people and you're asking those questions and getting to know them maybe better or again or anew? How are you going to feel when you see these people? Next, how are you going to feel thinking of your food time and your beverage time, right? How are you going to feel when they are eating and you are not? How's that going to make you feel? If you plan ahead and you already give yourself the thought process of how you're going to feel when other people are eating and you're not, think about that. That allows you to have a plan of action, a plan to respond instead of react. Reaction is always knee-jerk, fast, no thinking. Responding is controlled and beneficial. And then our next thing that you want to, know how you're going to feel when negative comments come. Unfortunately, it happens, and especially if they know that you've had weight loss surgery. There's going to be negative comments, or there's going to be the comments of, hey, how come you're not eating that much? Or, oh, look at you. What, my food's not good enough for you? It happens. So how are you going to feel when negative comments happen? And then, how are you going to feel when you see your trigger foods? How's it going to make you feel to see these trigger foods? If you have a plan ahead of time and you already know, oh gosh, if I see cake that I love, it's going to make me feel wanting. It's going to make me feel left out. It's going to make me feel deprived. Well, you can turn that around and you can say, but in the long run, to be healthy, and I want to be healthy for many years to come, not just at this party. I want to be healthy for a lot of years to come. So the cake probably doesn't taste like I remember it anyway. And the cake is so loaded of sugar, it's just going to fill up my fat cells again. And cake may give me dumping symptoms. There's all kinds of things you can actually, if you think about it ahead of time, you can combat it ahead of time as well. So what I really also want you to think of is, what is your end goal? And like I just said, are you wanting to be healthy for life? Or you just want to be healthy until whatever event that you've planned on to do this for? Not me. I want to be healthy. My long-term goal is healthy and wise choices for the rest of my life. Not just for a year or 2 years. I plan on living a long time, so I've got a lot of years to go to do that. And you need to ask yourself, maybe before this party, you're getting your mindset up here and think is, why did I choose this? Why did I choose this? Go back to that reason. Why did you choose to have surgical intervention to help you get on a healthy path? It doesn't hurt. Go back to that. Why did you do that? Because, like I just said, it should be for your lifetime, not just for an event that's coming up. And I've already said it, and I'll say it again. You are the only one that controls you, right? You're the only one that controls the bending of your elbow and stuff going in your face, right? I mean, when you go to these parties, people aren't hog-tying you, are they? No. There's not any waterboarding going on where you're tied and strapped down and they're shoveling food at you, right? No. They're your family. They're your friends. They're people who really care about you and your success. So, at the party, I really want you to kind of get out of your own head. And at your party, you're going to focus on others. Yeah, you're going to focus on them. Ask stuff about their life, their kids, their work, their struggles, their successes, what's working, what isn't working. There's so many questions that you can ask people that you just take it off of you and put it onto them. The other thing is are you public with your weight loss surgery or are you not? If you're not, and or if you are, but if you're not, then you need to be ready for those questions, because if some of these people haven't seen you for 6 months or more, they're going to think you're sick. They're going to think something's wrong with you, especially if you're in the first 2 years and everything isn't kind of equaled out and you're bony and really super thin. They're going to think something's wrong with you. So you need to plan to have a response so that you can react, or excuse me, so that you can respond and not react. Because reaction, you'll say something that you don't maybe necessarily mean to say, and you don't have to explain everything. There's no law that says we have to explain everything. If you're not public, P-U, oh my gosh, I could spell. If you're not public with your weight loss surgery, that's okay. Then you just need to have a response of, your health was in danger and your doctor is helping you have a meal plan that works for you. And you just stay within those guidelines and you're exactly where the doctor says you should be. Then if they say, oh, but you're so thin, and you're like, yeah, I'm exactly where the doctor says I should be and I'm following their instructions. You don't have to explain anymore. Some people might ask you, they might ask you privately and things like that. So if you're not public, and before somebody says something, you can drop kind of little healthy, helpful hints. And one of them would be like, gosh, honey, I'm so grateful that the doctor gave me that plan to follow, and I feel so much healthier now that I'm on their plan. Whatever. You can say something that allows someone to go, oh, they're not sick, they're okay. And then maybe they won't ever ask you anything, and that's fine. The next thing is, I said, have a response. S-P-O-N. Have a response so that you can respond and not react. And if you feel like you really need something to do to help fill that time, especially if it's somewhere where you go, guess what you can bring? You can bring games. Board games, card games, dice games, whatever it is, something to help fill that time. If you feel that you're going to have a hard time either carrying around food or not, or carrying out around a drink or not, or ask them if they've got games. Sometimes there's usually something going on. At a couple of parties that we go to, there's a time in the night where they'll have karaoke or dancing or some silly game of some sort. And it just breaks up the monotony and takes your focus off of everything about you. It puts it on other people. And then I already said napkins are your best friend. But I want you to also think of ahead of time, before the party, and then definitely at the party, is your mindful eating. And mindful eating to me is really super important. The first thing that you're going to do is take a small bite, and before you put it in your mouth, Look at it. Does it look appetizing? Does it look good? Smell it. Does it smell good? Can you kind of decipher some of the spices or the ingredients that are in it? I mean, nobody has to know that you're making a game of it in your head, but this way you can actually get everything, your saliva, it all starts kind of flowing. Your brain and stuff gets it going if you kind of analyze it before you eat it. So what does it smell like? What does it look like? And take a small bite. Then savor that bite. Do the same thing. Does it taste good? Can you decipher any of the seasonings that are in there? If it's not good, that's where you have your napkin, and right away it can go away, so that's not on your waste. It's in the waste can. No problem about that. And then textures. What are the textures that you're eating? Soft, rough, chewy, salty, sweet. There's different things that go with the texture that you want to kind of have that in your head because you're chewing 15, 20 times. You can be thinking these questions to yourself. Nobody needs to know. Even, I don't know if you know people that do wine tasting, or there's, I forget what it's called, but it's something with foods. When you taste different foods, they put it in their mouth, they do the chews, and then they go kind of right here out of the sides of their mouth. They suck in air, and it kind of like reignites the flavors of what's in there. It's a weird thing, but it works. The other thing is chew, chew, chew. Chew, chew, chew. A lot. Chew it, enjoy it, savor it while you're chewing it. And then what are you going to do? Rest between the bites. Let it go down. First of all, you're going to let it go down, and if you're resting between the bites, guess what? You have time then between your stomach and your brain to catch if your pouch likes it or not. Okay? If you hurry up and shovel another bite in, sometimes 2 or 3 bites in, then your stomach's like doing a revolt on you and you're like, ah, don't want to do that. Why not rest and give it the time to do that? And then think of the hunger scale. I'll post a picture of that, but you want to, SCAL, geez. You want to keep in mind that you really want to stay between, you want to start eating when your hunger is there at a 3 versus famished at a 1. And you want to stop eating when you're satisfied at like a 7, and don't push it to the stuffed, groaning, you need to go throw up of a 9 or 10. Don't want to do that. You want to be comfortable. Pay attention to the hunger scale. And the thing is, if you're there at this event, especially if it's family and you know you're going to be there for a lot of hours, guess what? You are going to get to eat again. In 2.5 to 3 hours, you get to enjoy maybe stuff that you didn't enjoy the first time, or that came late, or that you can take home, or that you had that was really good. You will have another chance to have these foods. You don't have to have it all at once, especially if you're going to be there for several hours. Several hours, you're going to have a second meal. And what the blessing is about this, you're going to take that little small plate, you're going to feel comfortable and awesome that you made these healthy choices earlier, and you're going to have a guilt-free second meal when everybody else is still sitting on the sofa or the floor or the whatever, moaning and groaning and saying, how can you eat again? I'm so full. Because you were wise and you respected yourself and your body, and you listened and you stopped when you were full. You waited, you interacted with people, then you had your beverages again while they're still shoveling stuff in. You're enjoying some tea or your coffee or water, whatever it is. You're going to have that time in between your food times where you can enjoy it again. And then lastly, and really, really more importantly, especially if you're new and this is maybe your first holiday since your surgery, even if it was in January, but this is your first holiday, guess what? You need to ask yourself, are you ready for this event? And be honest with yourself. If you're not ready for this event, so what? You don't have to go. You can decline. You can turn it down. Something can come up. And again, you do not have to explain yourself. You just apologize. I'm sorry, but I am not going to be able to make it this time.
Bye, Felicia.
Hey, Felicia. Hey, Jennifer. You need to say, I'm choosing. I'm choosing, or I just lost it. My husband just made me lose my thought process there. Sorry. You don't have to explain everything, but you can say, oh, I'm really sorry. We're not going to be able to make it to this Christmas or this dinner or whatever. And just, you don't have to explain it. You can just say you're not coming. And if they're going to barrage you for a reason, then have that prepared ahead of time so that you feel comfortable and you won't be talked out of it. So it is okay if you go. Just be prepared. And it's okay if you pass. Why? Because you're going to live a long time. You're going to have a lot more holidays and a lot more gatherings and a lot more years to go again when you are strong. Okay? You can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. We have many, many more years ahead of us to be healthy and make healthy and wise choices. And if for some reason you go to this event and you know, best laid plans sometimes get jumbled up. If for some reason you've made all these plans, something comes in and a wrench goes in and tosses it all out the window, don't beat yourself up. You are human. And it's only one day out of 365. One day does not mean it needs to be a week, a month, or a year. One day. It's okay. Learn from it. You can learn from a mistake by then remembering, okay, next time, this is what I planned for, this is what happened, this is what I'm going to plan for the next time. And that way, you'll be successful. And you didn't get fat overnight. And if you've just had surgery pretty recently, all of this is new. And all of this is hard. And all of your family is going to think you're weird. And if you really, really need to, you really need to enlist their help. And it's okay. Ask for their help. Ask for their support. If you think you're going to be tempted too much, ask Aunt Sue to be your food police. And believe me, she will, because you've asked her. And she will take that job serious, even if you don't want her to. So those are just some tips. Hopefully they help you. Holidays are coming. Holidays are here for the rest of our life. But there are things that we can do to prepare ourselves, both in our mind and in our actions, of how we are going to respond versus react. Okay? Have a great rest of your night. Merry Christmas and enjoy your parties. Enjoy them. Bye. Talk to you later.